General Hospital will reveal. It comes as no surprise that General Hospital fans are deeply disappointed with how the writers have treated the character of Taggert. This abrupt and forced shift in his relationship with Trina has left many viewers frustrated, as decades of character development seem to have been erased without a logical explanation. For over 20 years, Taggert was not just Trina's legal father but also the man who nurtured, protected, and raised her. Yet, despite this rich history, the writers have chosen to push him into the background, effectively replacing his role with Curtis, who is now positioned as the only father figure in Trina's life. From childhood through adulthood, Trina's bond with Taggert was built on trust, love, and unwavering support. He was not just a father in name but in action, guiding her through life's challenges and shaping the person she became. His presence in her life was undeniable, making it all the more frustrating that the show's recent direction seems to disregard his significance entirely. Even with the revelation that Curtis is Trina's biological father, that truth should never diminish the emotional and familial connection she shared with Taggert. However, instead of allowing these relationships to coexist and evolve naturally, the writers have chosen an unrealistic approach, erasing Taggert's influence and making Curtis the only father Trina recognizes. This drastic shift has not gone unnoticed by fans, who have expressed their discontent across various platforms. Many feel that General Hospital is deliberately rewriting history, forcing an unnecessary narrative that disregards Taggert's long-standing role in Trina's life. A biological connection does not automatically replace 2 decades of fatherhood, nor does it erase the love, memories, and sacrifices that Taggert made for Trina. However, the show's current storytelling suggests otherwise, as Curtis is now portrayed as the only parental figure of importance. The handling of this storyline has left many viewers feeling disconnected from the characters, as it strips away the authenticity of their relationships. Fans who have followed General Hospital for years are not just seeing a minor plot adjustment, they are witnessing a rewriting of history that dismisses one of the show's most heartfelt father-daughter bonds. Curtis being Trina's biological father does not negate the years of love and devotion Taggert poured into raising her. Yet, the writers seem determined to erase his role entirely, making it appear as though Curtis has always been the primary father figure in Trina's life. This is not just a questionable creative decision, it is a betrayal of the story that General Hospital spent years developing. What happens next? Will Taggert return to reclaim his rightful place in Trina's life, or will he continue to be cast aside and forgotten? The answer remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. Fans are still holding out hope that justice will be done for a character who never should have been sidelined in the first place. These changes not only frustrate viewers but also strip away the authenticity of the character's psychological development. The sudden shift in Trina's relationship with Curtis, particularly her abrupt habit of calling him Dad, as if he had always been the primary father figure in her life, feels incredibly forced and illogical. For over 2 decades, Taggert was the only father Trina knew, the one who raised, protected, and loved her unconditionally. His role was not just symbolic but deeply ingrained in the fabric of her life. Yet, with almost no transition, the writers have rewritten Trina's perception of fatherhood, making it seem as though Curtis was always at the center of her world. This drastic narrative shift ignores the emotional weight of Trina's long-standing connection with Taggert. Just recently, Trina herself was adamant about not seeing Curtis as her father. She had explicitly stated that Taggert was the only father she recognized, even after learning the truth about her DNA. That emotional conflict, which should have been explored in greater depth, has been discarded entirely in favor of an unnatural resolution that conveniently erases Taggert's importance. The writing fails to acknowledge that deep-rooted relationships don't change overnight, especially when they are built on decades of love, trust, and shared experiences. Instead of depicting a realistic, gradual shift in how Trina processes her new reality, the writers have rushed to redefine her dynamic with Curtis, disregarding the complexities of her emotional journey. Adding to the frustration, Portia, the very person responsible for deceiving everyone about Trina's paternity, has been inexplicably recast as a sympathetic figure. Despite having spent years deliberately hiding the truth from both Curtis and Trina, her actions are seemingly forgiven without any real consequences. The fact that she manipulated both men's lives and denied Trina the right to know her biological father should have led to significant fallout. Yet, rather than holding Portia accountable, the show has softened her character and positioned her as a mother who simply made a mistake, rather than someone who knowingly altered the course of multiple lives. This revision of Portia's character arc is baffling, especially when contrasted with how other characters have been judged for far lesser transgressions. While others in General Hospital face intense scrutiny and backlash for their deceptions, Portia's dishonesty is brushed aside, as if the magnitude of her betrayal no longer matters. The audience is now expected to sympathize with her struggles, despite the fact that she was the architect of this entire situation. This unearned redemption arc makes her character feel inconsistent, undermining the weight of her previous decisions. Ultimately, this rewriting of history does a disservice to all the characters involved. It forces an unnatural dynamic between Trina and Curtis while diminishing the deep emotional ties she shared with Taggert. It also allows Portia to escape meaningful consequences for her actions, which weakens the integrity of the show's storytelling. The rushed and unrealistic nature of these changes alienates longtime viewers, who have invested in these relationships for years, only to see them carelessly restructured for the sake of a new narrative direction. Across multiple discussion forums, General Hospital fans have been vocal about their frustration with the way the show has handled Taggert's role in Trina's life. Many viewers strongly believe that the writers are deliberately rewriting Trina's history, sidelining Taggert in order to strengthen her connection with Curtis. This narrative shift has not only been abrupt but also feels like a complete erasure of the bond that Trina and Taggert shared for over 2 decades. Fans argue that despite any biological revelations, a father is defined by love, dedication, and presence, not just DNA. The fact that General Hospital is choosing to ignore Taggert's significance in Trina's upbringing has left many feeling disheartened, as though a core element of her story has been erased in favor of a forced new dynamic. One particularly emotional comment on social media captured the sentiment shared by many fans: Trina will always be Taggert's daughter. No matter what the writers try to push, they can never change that. It's truly heartbreaking to see the man who has loved and protected her for years be cast aside as if he never mattered. This statement resonated with a large portion of the audience, who feel that Taggert's contributions to Trina's life are being unfairly dismissed. Many fans have pointed out how crucial he was during her formative years, playing an essential role in her moral development, providing her with guidance, and being a pillar of support in ways that Curtis never had the chance to be. The idea that Curtis could seamlessly take over the father role without any lingering emotional struggles for Trina or any resistance from Taggert himself feels both unnatural and disrespectful to longtime viewers who have followed this storyline for years. Some fans, however, remain hopeful that the writers will recognize the backlash and find a way to rectify this oversight. A popular theory circulating among viewers is that General Hospital could introduce a compelling twist, one that re-establishes Taggert's importance in Trina's life in a way that cannot be ignored. One such idea involves Trina being diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, one that can only be treated with a blood transfusion or a medical donation that matches Taggert's unique markers. This would not only provide a dramatic and logical plot twist but also serve as undeniable proof that Taggert, whether through biology or a deeper spiritual connection, will always be her true father. This theory has gained traction because it would allow the show to restore balance without necessarily undoing the Curtis storyline. Instead of completely erasing Curtis' presence in Trina's life, this kind of plot development would reinforce the idea that familial bonds are not determined solely by DNA, but by shared history and emotional ties. A medical crisis would force the characters, and the audience, to acknowledge that while Curtis may be Trina's biological father, Taggert is irreplaceable in her life. Ultimately, the strong reaction from General Hospital fans is a testament to how deeply invested they are in Trina's story. The bond between her and Taggert was built on years of love and care, and it is not something that can or should be rewritten overnight. If the showrunners want to maintain the integrity of the characters and stay true to the emotional weight of their past, they must find a way to honor Taggert's role instead of erasing it. Whether through a dramatic medical twist or another creative approach, General Hospital has an opportunity to correct course and give this storyline the respect it deserves. Fans are watching closely, hoping that their voices will be heard before it is too late. Moreover, the sudden shift in how Trina refers to Curtis has left many viewers confused and frustrated. Previously, Trina consistently addressed Curtis by his first name or, at most, referred to him as her stepfather in a casual and natural manner. This was not just a simple choice of words, it reflected her emotional boundaries and the reality of her relationship with him. Despite learning about their biological connection, Trina initially struggled to accept Curtis as a father figure, which made sense given that Taggert had been the only father she had ever known. However, in an abrupt and seemingly unearned development, Trina has now started calling Curtis "Dad," a drastic departure from how she previously viewed him. This change feels rushed and inorganic, as if the writers are fast-tracking an emotional bond that has not been properly developed on screen. The transition from acknowledging Curtis as a distant biological figure to suddenly embracing him as her father in the most intimate way does not align with her established character arc. It disregards the deep-rooted complexities of her emotions, which should have been explored more thoughtfully rather than being glossed over for the sake of narrative convenience. This abrupt transformation has only fueled the belief that the writers are forcing a new dynamic between Trina and Curtis while simultaneously downplaying the significance of Taggert. The speed at which Trina now accepts Curtis as her father, without any lingering hesitation, emotional struggle, or even a meaningful discussion, feels unnatural and, to many, highly unrealistic. It is especially jarring given that Trina once strongly resisted the idea of Curtis playing a paternal role in her life. She previously set clear boundaries, making it known that while she respected him, she did not see him as a father. This was an essential part of her character's emotional journey, yet now, it has been undone with little to no explanation. For long-time viewers, this inconsistency makes Trina's development feel disjointed and artificial. The beauty of character growth lies in its gradual evolution, where emotions shift naturally over time in response to meaningful experiences and interactions. If Trina were to eventually warm up to Curtis as a father, it should have happened in a more organic, emotionally layered way, through shared experiences, heartfelt conversations, and moments of genuine connection. Instead, the show has seemingly bypassed that journey altogether, jumping straight to the conclusion without allowing the audience to witness the necessary steps along the way. As a result, this forced narrative shift diminishes the authenticity of Trina's character, making her interactions feel less genuine and more dictated by the demands of the plot rather than natural emotional progression. It also weakens the impact of the struggle she initially faced when coming to terms with her biological heritage. Her journey should have been one of conflict, acceptance, and reconciliation, yet it has been reduced to a simple, unrealistic resolution that disregards the weight of her past relationships. Furthermore, this change does not just affect Trina, it has broader implications for the show's overall storytelling. It reinforces the troubling pattern of rewriting character history to fit a new narrative direction rather than respecting the emotional depth and continuity of previously established relationships. By hastily reconfiguring Trina's paternal bonds, the show risks alienating viewers who have invested in these characters and their arcs for years. Many fans feel that they are being asked to ignore their own memories of Trina's past and simply accept this new reality without question, which makes for frustrating and unsatisfying storytelling. Ultimately, the problem is not that Trina is forming a connection with Curtis, it is that the process has been handled in a way that feels rushed, unnatural, and dismissive of her history with Taggert. The writers had an opportunity to create a nuanced, emotionally compelling exploration of what it means to discover and embrace a biological parent while still honoring the love and loyalty one feels toward an adoptive or legal father. Instead, they have taken shortcuts, sacrificing depth and emotional authenticity in favor of a quick, superficial resolution. If General Hospital wants to do justice to Trina's character, they need to slow down and allow this relationship to unfold in a way that respects her past. Curtis and Trina's connection should be given time to develop organically, with room for doubt, conflict, and gradual acceptance. Anything less than that not only does a disservice to Trina's character but also undermines the credibility of the show's long-term storytelling. The future of Taggert in General Hospital remains an open question, leaving fans uncertain about what lies ahead for his character. Will he make a triumphant return to reclaim his rightful place in Trina's life, reminding both her and the audience of the unwavering love and dedication he has always shown? Or will GH continue to push him aside, allowing Curtis to fully take over the role of Trina's father without any meaningful resistance? The show's direction remains unclear, and only time will reveal whether Taggert will once again be given the respect he deserves or if he will be permanently written out of Trina's story. Regardless of what the writers decide, one thing remains undeniable: fans are still watching and waiting for justice for Taggert. His contributions to Trina's life cannot simply be erased, no matter how much the narrative shifts in favor of Curtis. The emotional investment that viewers have in Taggert's character is too deep to be ignored, and his presence in Trina's past, and hopefully, her future, will always hold significant weight. No matter how the storyline unfolds, the loyalty of GH fans remains steadfast. If the writers truly want to honor the complexity of Trina's journey, they must acknowledge that Taggert's role in her life is irreplaceable. Until then, audiences will continue to hope for a resolution that respects the history of these beloved characters. Stay tuned to General Hospital on ABC for the latest developments.